Hey everyone, and welcome back to Open. Here at Bronxnet, our mission is to provide programming and opportunities to inspire, educate, inform, engage, and promote community voices for the Bronx and beyond. Which brings us to our next guest, a media maven on the rise. Yes, an editor, correspondent, multimedia journalist, and Bronxnet reporter. Everyone, please welcome Jonathan Calixto. Hello and
Hi, Rena.
welcome.
Thank you so much for having me in your space. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here on set, right?
Yeah.
Because you've already been with Bronx now how long now?
Oh, it's about to be, I think, like since November, October. So still fairly new, less than a year, but yeah, I'm usually outside.
Right, you're out in the field,
Yeah.
and I do want to open up with this
Aw,
fabulous
thank you.
blazer or sports jacket. How do we refer to it?
Yeah.
It is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, and like I told you, it is a Brooklyn designer, so I always like to support as well our New York designers, but also, I had to bring the fashion. I was seeing Rena today, so I had to bring the fashion for you.
That's what's up, and I love that you're supporting our local artisans,
Yes.
local businesses. That's what we're
Yeah.
about as well. And
100%.
so, is fashion like your preference, like of topics? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I never thought I would end up in fashion. If you look at all my baby pictures, I was definitely oversized or just colors everywhere. But it was the first introduction I got into the industry, doing PR and also working as a styling assistant for an on-air correspondent who dealt with fashion specifically. So that taught me early on that this was the first way you can introduce and say who you are. So I loved it from then on, and here I am.
There you go. And now you're actually expanding on that, right? So you work also with Bella Magazine, right? Let's share with our audience what Bella Magazine is about.
Yeah, so Bella Magazine is a lifestyle magazine. It really caters to women and inspiring them to kind of chase their goals. It's really for the women who, when they just graduated, maybe getting their first job or are an entrepreneur on the go. So there's a lot of lifestyle, fashion, beauty advice there as well, and also speaks to the mind, body, and soul.
So you're saying it's kind of like a magazine that invites people who are finding themselves versus being already established.
Yeah,
Is that
100.
what you're
Yeah,
saying?
100%. And even for people who are older and still reinventing themselves,
Right.
like it does touch on that as well. It's very lifestyle, fashion as well. But yeah,
I like that. I like that.
yeah,
It's
it's fun.
important. And thank you for sharing that because, a lot of people think of magazines and right away, you think, oh, you have to have a publicist, you have to be in the of a certain caliber. And so to know that there's a magazine out there, do they cater primarily to Latinas or Latinos or
Well,
Latine or whatever language you like to
yeah.
use? Latinx.
No, I love that you asked that because we do. We launched about 2 years ago now, Bella Latina magazine. So we are focusing and highlighting kind of the queer Latino voices as well. I'm editor at large for that magazine and that division. So yeah, we just had a big launch in Miami as well because that's a huge Latinx market. So yeah, we're also reaching that demographic. So it's
That's
exciting.
awesome. Okay, so there's two departments now.
Yeah.
All right, so wait, are you saying there's a Bella magazine and a Bella Latina magazine?
Yes, and I'm gonna even blow your mind. So we do have Bella Magazine, Bella Latina Magazine, which launched 2 years ago, and then this summer we launched Bella Around Town, which was kind of geared to small businesses. So there's 3 different divisions that we're kind of reaching to different audiences.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, and it's so needed.
Yes,
It really
especially.
is. So congratulations on that. It sounds like it's flourishing, and you're flourishing within it.
Yes, we're keeping that printer busy because people, forget that. Some people like the physical copies of magazines. We have the digital as well, but definitely we like to cater to people who like to hold on to something tangible.
That's important too, right? So
Yeah.
I automatically assumed it was a digital magazine. It's actually a print magazine.
Yes, and thankfully to our editor-in-chief, Vanessa Coppis, she's also the CEO of the company. She's been able to kind of keep it alive during this crazy time, post-pandemic where a lot of magazines are closing or just moving to fully digital. She definitely saw the need in having a physical copy, and so here we are, thankfully.
That's good. That's good. No, I agree. I mean, some people like to smell it, to flip the pages. It's a different feeling.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that. And where can people find it?
Yeah, so if you go to bellamedia.co, you can definitely check out all the different divisions of Bella Magazine and then also at bellamag.co.
And so you would have to get a subscription, or is it available in stores?
Yeah, so you can get a subscription or also order each copy as it comes out as well. But you can order it all online.
So in researching you, I noticed you have your hands in various areas, right? We're going to talk about your reporting here at Bronxnet as well, and that would be like the journalist side of you, right? But then you also have this podcast as well that you created, and before we even go into both of those sectors, I want to talk a little bit about what led you into the industry as a whole, right? Because you just mentioned you started out as a stylist assistant, and now you're in the front. Now you're being a voice, and in your podcast you share some intimate stories of identity and struggle. And so I want to say that I could see that perhaps you were inspired to be a voice for an area in which, you know, some people is being overly discussed, but it's just not discussed enough.
Right, 100%. I think, especially with the podcast, I always growing up saw myself as a team player. I knew my role, which I would always say, like I was always very much behind the scenes, or if, you know, I was a good team player, I always said. But through life, and especially through the pandemic, I found that I needed to step up and I needed to kind of be the boss of my life and take control. During the pandemic, I got laid off from my PR job, and that's really how I started as well with the styling assistant through PR. So I got laid off of my job, and I saw so many other creatives also losing their jobs or not having a foundation really. So the podcast started as an Instagram live at that time, where I was just talking to people, being like, literally simple question of how are you navigating this time? How are you taking care of yourself, you know, and your mental health? And so through all that, it inspired me launching the podcast this summer. But I will even say through the pandemic, I took some time off and then just relaunched it now, because I also was dealing with my own struggles of, you know, reinventing myself. What do I want to do? And people may think from the outside looking in sometimes that you have it all figured out, but we're also dealing with so many things, you know, behind the scenes. And so this was a way for me to voice that. I share about my coming out story as well, and different moments that have kind of inspired me to go into the next chapter. So that's really what it's about. And I never saw myself as a voice to like lead people, but I definitely want to just have people be inspired by their own life experiences.
Right, and when you use the title Inner Boss, really, it's really about your own self-discovery and understanding that, you know, there's a captain in there somewhere.
Yeah, we all have it. It just needs to be unlocked, and through different experiences, you'll find it. And that's why I just share those vulnerable moments. But I also speak to a lot of people who I'm inspired by, or, you know, have worked with as well, that have inspired me in different chapters. So definitely want to be able to just shed that light a little bit. Yeah.
And so now let's lead into your role here at Bronxnet. You're out in the field, you're doing reporting. I know, I don't know what that looks like with regards to the topics of discussion, if you get to choose them or they send you out on certain field productions. So just share a little bit about what that experience has been for you thus far.
Yeah, so for me, coming from a place where I work as an editor, contributor very much on the digital side, stepping into being a reporter here at Bronxnet has definitely been a learning lesson. Everything that I've done, from learning how to be a videographer to being a reporter and on camera, has definitely helped me. And so there is a combo of pitching some of the segments and stories that we want to cover, but also some of the things that are happening that are staples to like the Bronx community. So it definitely has been a good experience. And born and raised in the Bronx, but I will say, like, through this experience and these past, 6-8 months, I have discovered so much of the Bronx that I didn't know. And it's even inspired me to tell my parents to be like, okay, let's go to this beer hall, which we're old enough now to do. These things to just check out together and experience. So
we have a lot of hidden gems here.
Many.
And that's the role we serve in as far as Bronxnet, at least for the years that I've been here. It's like we've been introducing everyone to the hidden treasures that are right here in your own backyard. And now we're introducing you to this possibility of development right here at Bronxnet, which is what Jonathan is sharing. And so how many stories have you done? I don't know if you can keep track of. I know. I'm just curious. If you can calculate.
Yeah, I would say at this point, maybe more than 40, 50 at this point.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think that what was really amazing about starting at Bronxnet was, as a viewer, right, you see these people kind of leading and telling the stories, and now to be part of that storytelling, but also being equipped with all the things, like I know now how to work a camera and, you know, kind of make it work moments and figuring things out, but also working with a team. So all those different experiences definitely have been
And so
amazing.
what's been your favorite top three? We'll say top three.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, my favorite top three. I will also say I got to interview Sulma Arzu Brown when
Yes.
she was announcing that she was stepping into the role for the Bronx Tourism Council.
Right,
So
as the
that was
executive director.
yeah, that was really exciting for me to kind of meet her. I had heard about her history, author as well, so that was a really cool moment. I would also say I've been to the Woodlawn Cemetery quite a few times for a story, which I never thought I would like go. And I'm like, as a Latino, we're like, cemetery, okay, that's a lot. But going there, so much history, and it's so beautiful. They have so many tours, so discovering those places have been really
Yeah,
cool.
no, well, that's only two, but I want to just wait. I want to just back you up, right? First of all, we love Suma Arsu Brown,
Yes.
and so we've been following her career and development. So it's lovely to know that she now serves as the executive director of the Bronx Tourism Council, and you have that on record.
Yeah.
We have that on record, but we have that on record with you covering
Very
it.
beautiful, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. So thank you for sharing that. And then the Woodlawn Cemetery, I want to share with you guys, right? So we hear cemetery, and you saw Jonathan, he went like this, right? So, but the truth of the matter is that Woodlawn Cemetery is like a party cemetery.
Yes, and a park. People visited, walked through it.
They
So
have
much.
silent discos in the cemetery.
Yes, they do. I haven't been to that one yet, but I've heard of it, and so I'm curious to check it out. But yeah, it's great.
So so Woodlawn Cemetery is like a highlight here in the Bronx because a lot of artists are buried there, and because like a lot of major celebrity, famous Celia Cruz is buried there, and so they actually create these excursions
Yeah.
within the cemetery.
Yes, you would never think, but and so much history of like the tours really guide you through so many people that have been a part of the Bronx or just New York history, from Celia Cruz, to the people who founded Macy's. Like it's just so much history in there, and very beautiful.
So what did you cover when you were there?
So I covered the Women League of Voters, and then also the Bronx Tourism Council kind of like post Bronx Week, kind of their big kind of recap meeting. So yeah, so
All
been
right.
there twice.
Okay, so I asked for three. You gave me two. What's your third and
Okay,
final?
the third one I would say was definitely the pride flag raising at the Bronxborough Hall. I had never been a part of something like that, and so as a queer Latino, to see so many people of color being honored for their work in the Bronx, definitely I had to hold back some tears. It was very beautiful.
I would
Yeah.
imagine. I know
Yeah.
I could feel it. I could feel
Very
it because
beautiful.
it's taken a long time for us to get there as a borough.
Yeah, it's like even I don't know if they used to do every year kind of raising the flag, but to see that in a place that's so staple, like right next to the like Yankee Stadium where locals train, and to see it, kind of be raised up and so many people cheering, I was like, as a young kid growing up in the Bronx, I never thought I would see such a celebration. So it was definitely inspiring. Yeah.
But pride is every day.
Yes,
Pride is
it
every
is.
day, and we celebrate pride. So I understand. I get the sentiments behind your expression. So in closing, what would you like to share with our viewers now that we're introducing Jonathan Calixto?
No, I definitely just am grateful to be a part of, Bronxnet, the Bronxnet family. And I just hope that from people, if you do check out my podcast, Inspire Your Inner Boss, that you do take away something from it, and hopefully you could pass that on, pass that baton of inspiration to someone else.
All right. And so Inspire Your Inner Boss is, you can find that on any streaming platform?
Correct. All streaming platforms. And I am launching next week, kind of in the upcoming weeks, kind of conversations with other people who are inspiring me. And then we're also going to be covering a lot of people's like day in the life, what inspires them. So definitely stay tuned to that.
Yeah, well, good luck with that because you do have a very soothing voice. And right now, if there's anything I could say we can all use a spoonful of is some mental wellness, highlight, right? Because that's what I got from it. Even though the
100%.
title is Inspire Your Inner Boss, it's more of like, you know what? We're all in this together.
Yeah, a lot of feel-good moments and being able to kind of just come together as a community and say, we got this.
Yeah,
Sure.
despite the differences in our stories,
Yeah.
we all have similarities.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you,
Jonathan.
Jonathan.
Thank you as well. Thank you to you and your team for having me.
Of
again.
course,
Appreciate
of
it.
course. Tú eres familia. Once again, thank you, Jonathan Calixto, editor, correspondent, multimedia journalist, and Bronxnet reporter. And for more on Jonathan, you can check him out on social media at This Is J Cali. And for more on educational opportunities in media, you can visit bronxnet.org. Stay tuned. Our Open Artist Spotlight is coming up next.